It is pointless to resist.
What is up, everyone? Welcome to another edition of the Starlight Digest, a podcast bringing line talk and digesting Star Wars topics over 1,000 years. This is episode 282, being recorded on October 30th, right before Halloween, 2024. I'm your host, Star Moocher. I've got Scott Solo here.
Happy Halloween, nerds.
Ernie will be joining us. He's finishing up over at the Fallen Fett Chronicles, which I was just a part of, which was a lot of fun. So, yeah, he'll be joining us. Grandma Franz is sick, which is a lot of people are sick. These, getting up because, again, it went from 100 degrees to 30 degrees at our neck of the woods here. So, of course, and we see Joey in the pit there. He could join, Joey, if you're not working. But before we get into all of that good stuff, before we get into Star Wars talk and shouting out the pit, I'm going to kick it over to Scott Solo here to shout out our Shadow Council, get them properly recognized. Go for it.
Okay, well, hey, thanks for joining us, everybody. Glad you're here. Glad you could make it. I hope everybody has been doing extra sit-ups and push-ups and all that in preparation for all the candy they're going to be eating tomorrow. Yeah, we went running this evening, and I'm still sore from that. So
I got 120 calories I could just throw away.
Gonna have some candy. So hopefully these people here are prepped and ready for their Christmas tree or Christmas. Jeez, I'm really jumping the gun. Their Halloween tree. Like AJ from the Forbidden Panel, Brandon and Anya Epler, Brian C, Cliff, Crystal E, Dennis McGrath, Don the Dad Dorn, Eric Grubb, Flavy Davy, formerly of the Nerds with Attitude, Gavin Connor from the Holy Hour All Cure podcast, Justin the Vanilla Thunder, Mervine Balanos, Matt Logic, Muftak is back, Nicholas Schaefer, Obi-Sean Kenobi, Papa Schmitty, Ryan, and the Star Joe's podcast. So hopefully all of you are, you're all front loading some exercise for tomorrow's candy. And, just go out there and have some fun, get dressed up. And I know that I think it's Antonio from the Holy Hour. He's going to be dressing as Balin's skull.
Oh,
tomorrow.
nice.
That's pretty freaking cool.
Oh, we got to have pictures to put that on our social.
I know, that'd be amazing, right? Yeah. So anyway, let's see. We've also got, all these fine fellas over here, like Commander Bly. Commander Bly beat Marco to the punch today. He was here before Marco was. It's incredible.
Unbelievable. Well, to be fair, I was over at the Fallen Fett Chronicles, so we're known to be late when we.
Yes.
So
Fallen Fett, who's that? I mean, I don't.
He'll jump in here in a minute.
A little late. We got Rhino Hobbies in there. We have got Basil G. He's there. We've got Gavin Connor, Gordon Skalski, Joey Covarrubias. There's a little trill in my R right there. Santo 1414. Did I skip over Gordon? No, I got Gordon.
Okay. I could have clicked him twice. It's fine. Gordon gets two shout outs anyway, so it's fine.
So welcome aboard, everybody.
Yes. Well, it's funny because it's our show. It's our Halloween week show, right? And it's like you think about Star Wars, and you're like, well, what kind of Halloween special could we do besides the terrifying tales of the Lego stuff, right? There's not much. Yeah.
It's pretty terrifying.
It's like Halloween, right? Because we could pick and choose, certain scenes and say like these are scary scenes from Star Wars, but Star Wars is not known for anything like scary. You know what I mean? Yeah. So it's hard to put together a Halloween Star Wars show. I mean, we can always talk about Night Sisters and zombie troopers, kind of stuff, but I mean, we've done that, and there wasn't that much to go on, So it's always funny. Like I think about it and I go, well, what the hell? What could we do for Halloween? I'm like, well, nothing really, not much,
not at all. Yeah,
not there,
I mean, I didn't even read the Death Troopers book, so I can't even say I haven't read that, so I don't know anything about that book.
It's not even canon.
I know.
You know what I mean? And those are actual zombie troopers,
Right. Yeah, I saw some photos of like some artist renderings of some of the scenes in that book, and I'm like, okay, that looks really out of place in the Star Wars galaxy, but
right? There's always Star Wars has room for everything, So.
It does.
Hell Runner Base checking in also, and Joey's saying Scott is the first white guy ever to correctly say my last name. You know what, Joey? I don't even try, so I just
Covarrubias.
Red Harvest. Yes.
Oh, hey, wow.
Yeah, so as far as the Star Wars, what the hell is going on in Star Wars right now? Like, yeah, I know. Well, let me tell you what has been the past 6 weeks, what everybody's saying. Writers are leaving, writers are joining, movies are being canceled, movies are being greenlit. I don't know anymore. It's like, right now, Lucasfilm, Disney, all that they're talking at both sides of their mouths on their future projects. There was the announcement of Mando Grogu movie being finished filming, which was not true. It was true for certain people, but they said they're filming in December. So, which got me thinking, I'm like, well, cool. It's not a short shooting schedule. It's a long-term thing. Of course, they're still slated for 2026, and it's the only movie that we can anticipate at this point of being like, this is what we're getting, not next year, but the following year.
And you're right, because I had seen the notification that Jon Favreau had finished shooting Mando and Grogu, and the first thing that came to my mind was, God, that was short. That was really short.
It just started like a month ago or something, right? Or
it's
July.
I think they had just begun filming during D23, because wasn't it? Where did we see the mocked up trailer for it? Where we saw
that was D23.
D23.
I want to say it's D23. I don't think it was
so I think it was like the week or two before that where they actually had the Mando himself, Pedro Pascal, on set for his scenes.
Right.
Because, but I'm like, man,
Well, it was the
really fast.
stuntman. Yeah, for one of the stuntmen for or the extra or the other Mandalorian that plays him said, "No, I'm still filming." So they're still filming. So other people have stopped. You know what I mean? Yeah. So again, I was looking at, but I was getting pleased with it because all we said was quality over quantity. Take your time with these. Don't have to rush them out. You don't. I mean, for us, you don't have to rush them out. You know, for if you want to make your money, I get it. But there's the problem. There's your revolving problem about things not being good, or they come back and they pull stuff, and we're just like, you got to stop that, because people are going to get tired of any announcement. They're going to get tired of Star Wars as far as like just the same old news, and then something comes out and it's like, well, they admittedly say we rushed into it. It's like, well, you don't have to. So that just got my head kind of going on like, all right, Mando Grogu movie still in it, it's still doing it, and they're taking their time with it. Cool. If they got shooting up until December, well, that's plenty of time, because then they got all year, like maybe a year and a half of post-production. Throw all that stuff in there, you know, make whatever they're going to do with the story, whatever they're going to do with Grogu and Mandalorian, you know, just make our jaws drop. You know what I mean? Like, put it in a
like
story where it's not, don't play it safe either. Like do a story, man. Like, come on. I don't want
the first season.
The
first season was not safe whatsoever, right? I mean, we
didn't know what was.
We didn't know what to expect. Our jaws dropped whenever, you know, that first scene where he's in that cantina and he takes the one squid head dude through the door, cuts him in half. I mean, I was like, oh, whoa.
But I'm also like going further, like, hey, like, bring in characters, kill off characters, move the chess pieces around to kind of get it going, because the more, I was trying to say, like, the more safe you play it, the more mundane Star Wars is going to be, the more boring it's going to start, because then you're going to start looking at series as a whole being like, you didn't move the board 2 inches, you know, like
you've got to have some stakes in the game, right? You've got to make it seem like there's some adventure going on, like not adventure, but it's not the right word, but you've got to make it just seem like things matter. Like, okay, the sequels, they weren't done well, but truly nobody was safe, right? I mean, especially if they were from the original era, right?
Right. Well, we wanted a progressive story to kind of like unfold, you know what I mean? So just a second, guys. I might get a couple guests on here to share the Star Wars experience here. So just bear with me 1 minute.
The other news, though, that popped up about, you said, you'd mentioned briefly that the writer had dropped, right? And that is of the New Jedi Order, the Rey movie.
Stephen Wright.
Right. He had exited the project.
It's official now.
It is. And I'm like,
but I don't care. Here's the thing. First off, it's a movie that I'm not that vested into it as me as a fan. It's the Rey continuation 15 years after the sequels. I know that there was talks of them bridging Mangold's and his Dawn of the Jedi to
the Jedi with this,
the New Jedi Order. I know that they were trying to bridge that. But if this movie is still in this kind of like writing woe or writing whatever, and they're fluctuating, you know, kind of like hemorrhaging people in and out, I don't know, man.
They've been struggling for a minute now. I mean, this isn't the first go round with writers either. I mean, this is, I want to say, isn't he the second writer that's been on this project, or third?
I don't know.
And there's with that much upheaval, it's time to take a step back and maybe come to a project with a fully fleshed out story, instead of making an announcement that there's a movie coming and having a writer attached to it. You know,
you know what, man? Like, I do want to see something come from beginning to end and have that same writing team, that same energy moving from what they got going now to future stuff, instead of like, because that's how the sequels got in trouble. Anyway.
I agree.
All right, guys. we're going to bring in a couple guests here since it's Halloween. It's our show. We got very little to start. The Dodger game's going on right now, so I'm sure people are tuning into the World Series. But, you know, you guys been hearing the name Shadow Nose Network for a while now, and you've seen Alex on our Toy Chest show. And you've heard the name Chet Maddox. You've heard the name Dr. Brantley in the chat and everything. We're going to bring the guys on and talk some Star Wars. How about it? First off, we've got Chet Maddox.
What's happening over here on the Sarlacc Digest? I've heard a lot about you guys.
Isn't it nice?
Don't believe it.
We got
it's so crazy. There's like you guys got lights up in here.
Yeah.
You guys, this is insane.
Welcome back to California. First off,
yeah, thank you. It's been 4 years, you know, but I'm back and I'm excited.
Nice.
And apparently, I moved close to everyone. So
you are, yeah. We're not
right
close to anybody, or like we're still 2 hours away. But you know, it's California.
Yeah.
Everything's 2 hours away. So
Everything.
I lived in LA, and to go like 6 miles was like 3 hours away.
Yeah,
so.
of course.
So it doesn't matter.
So, and our other partner in crime on the Toy Chest, Alexander Storm, is joining us today too. Nice.
What's up, Alex?
We've got people to talk about Star Wars with now. I mean,
Hey,
I could talk. I'm
Let's do
sorry.
it.
I could talk stuff. I mean, Scott and I could all day long, you know, but to get other people's opinions, especially this one, right? And everybody's in the pit too, because, which I was just saying, like, why can't we just have people involved in the Star Wars writing team to see things through and present something good? Why is that so hard? You know what I mean? Like, why is that a thing? Ernie the Fallen is joining us also. Ernie, we got a full house here, man.
Yeah, this guy fell. I heard he fell.
I did.
Yeah,
He fell in that trivia contest he just had over at his.
I did pretty good. Come on. Yeah.
Nice. We also got Dr. Brantley checking in. And
What's
of
up,
course, Crooked Smiles. What's up, Chet? Been a while.
What's happening?
So, yeah, guys. Go for it.
I know that Alex in particular, you work in script writing, you work behind the scenes and all that. How rare is it to? So we've got a situation here where they make an announcement that a movie is coming, right? And then it's like they decide to announce who the script writers are for this particular movie. How rare is it for a situation to happen in that order? Is it? I would think that you would come to a company with the fleshed out script first, pitch it, and then start developing a movie. Not have the company say, we're going to make this movie, and then go hunting for a script writer to write it. And it seems like we keep getting these situations where and a movie is announced, then they go, they hire a script writer, and then all of a sudden it falls apart.
Yeah. It's happening too often in the Lucasfilm Disney era. You know what I mean? Especially Star Wars, you know.
Is it a rare
I think
situation?
just from my experience, it can happen two ways. Sometimes it's not rare. It's happened. And it's, I guess, with the more I've been seeing with Lucas, it happens a lot. That they'll have somebody in, and then somebody will be terminated or whatever they want to call it. They'll move on to another scenario. Yeah. But most of the time, screenwriting, I can tell you that we are the most unimportant part of the entire production. They usually, if you're a higher up screenwriter, then maybe they'll use your name as promotions and things like that. But mostly, like, they pretty much have this shut up and go away kind of scenario. Once you wrote something, shut up and go away.
We're expendable.
We don't need you anymore. But if it's a higher up, then maybe they're trying to add some production values. You're always expendable. Always. Like, look, they'll fire a writer quicker than anything and get someone else to rewrite that. And sometimes it could be 15, 16 rewrites on one script. You never know. But and also I've never truly seen something that Dr. Brantley and I have done go all the way to the screen without some form of a change to it.
Yeah. Well, Felipe is checking in also. And then Joey actually brings up a point. Yeah, go for it. Or are you just saying hi, Ernie? Saying hi? Your mic. Oh, no.
Sorry, I'm saying hi to everybody.
Okay. All right, cool.
I had a coughing fit. Sorry.
Yeah. Joey's brings up a point here because Star Wars is because they're bringing you can't just write something anymore. This is lore, it's canon, everything has to mesh, it's got to be continuity. Well, for the most part, it has to be, right? Yeah. So there is I can't do this, I can't do that, probably restrictions on these writers, right? So Joey's bringing up a point. Do you think it's conflict with the storytelling, lore, or studio stepping over and getting too involved? I think it's a matter of yes to all. I think sometimes it's climate. It's what we can't do this, or we have to put these issues up front because we got to please everybody. We also got to make money. We also try to please the Star Wars fans. And in the meantime, what I was just saying in my opening was like, for us as fans, we don't care about that. You know what I mean? Like, we care about a story that's going to go from like 0 to 100, walking out of the theater going like, oh my God, I can't believe Star Wars just did that. I can't wait for the next installment. They killed this character, or they brought this character in, or they went to this planet, instead of playing it safe. And I feel sometimes they're too afraid to commit to something to where it's like, all right, if we do this, then we're pigeonholing our stuff into future stuff. We never had to worry about that growing up. You know what I mean? It was like, if they wrote something and they filmed it, they found a way to bring it back again later, instead of like keeping it that close to the chest and being like, because we're talking about the Mando Grogu movie. Is it just going to be a side mission? Or is it going to propel the Ahsoka series 2? Is it going to propel this bigger picture? If we're not going back to the Mando world, are they going to do something that's cool enough to where it explains that? Or are they just going to be like, it's just side mission. Everybody's going to have fun. We'll sell a lot of merch. But the real story will come 5 years from now. That's my fear, so. Yeah, go for it, Scott.
Dr. Brantley says, I don't think they allow bold storytelling because they have to keep the franchise going for the next 20 years.
Yeah.
But there's a fine line. You can still have a bold storyline and not be,
well,
I don't know. I'm not a screenwriter, man.
Well, there's also this too, what we've been saying, right? You could be bold in this time frame because you can go back to the Old Republic era and really reinvent yourself for the next 20 years. You really could do that. If you still want to sprinkle in a couple Skywalker saga stories here and there, you can do that. But let's finish this. Let's go, and then let's get into something grander that they have more free will and less pigeonholing in it. Yeah. And again, that might be an issue where they bring a treatment to Kathleen Kennedy. She says, yeah, this is great. I'm going to go in front of the crowd tomorrow, put me up a title. We'll announce Rogue Squadron movie or the new Jedi Order. Everybody will go nuts. And then the next 5 years, we're going to be firing directors, screenwriters, and then even Daisy Ridley's like, look, I just saw a treatment and I said, that was cool. That's it. You know what I mean? So, do they do a lot of those things just for show, just for that moment, because the crowd is in front of them? I don't know.
I think they've gotten away with from what Lucas used to do, where he had the entire plot written out. And they went off of that. Now it seems like they're kind of like running it fast and loose.
They don't know what they're doing.
They're announcing things and then they're just throwing them out there, and then they're finding out there's problems, and there may be problems behind the scenes. A lot of times people in Hollywood don't get along with one another and in really bad working environments, or you hire somebody and think you're getting this and you're really not getting that. Yeah. And they have to make moves. But that's why the best ideas and the best way to do this is to have the idea fleshed out, ready to go, and then start
just attach a director to it and go. And a lot of times I think they give too much freedom for these people to come in because they have their own ideas. And I think that's what the sequels did, right? J.J. Abrams presented this, and then Rian Johnson went, I have my
any ideas.
Well, like Rian Johnson went, I'm going to do my own version. And then Justin Trevorrow was like, I'm going to do my own version. This is supposed to be a cohesive story. No, I didn't. Yeah. And I think maybe they gave too much of that freedom. Like, hey, we want your name attached to it. Just give us a Star Wars story instead of going like, this is where we want to go with this. We got to get to point A to point B. In between, you could be creative, but from here to here, let's go.
And I think that's the problem. They didn't have an end point.
They still don't. I mean, well, sequels, I guess.
Seriously.
But,
but we don't know what the future holds with Ahsoka. We don't know, where Thrawn is going. I know that in the Heir to the Empire, that the original Thrawn trilogy of books, there was an attack set on Coruscant, right? So we could see the Seventh Fleet come in with whatever other Imperial remnant attack Coruscant, we could have a huge battle that actually like we brought up a couple weeks ago, that imagery that was originally used for Trevorrow's Rise of Skywalker, where we saw Coruscant just devastated, right? Completely abandoned and devastated.
Yeah.
That could still happen. There
could
be
still
a
happen.
reason why, the Republic moved to a different world. So there's still time for these epic, bold moves, right? Because we've got that 30-year span where we know something happened, but we don't know what. It wasn't all peaceful.
Yeah.
Go crazy. Destroying Coruscant. That would be a bold statement. That would be a bold
progressive move. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Anyway.
Ernie, get your people on it. Tell them to hey, let's go.
My thing is now is I hope that we're slowed in this response to things and not so many things hitting. Is that you made a great point of there was no story, because I hope they are now sitting down and talking about time-wise of what's going on, because there's nothing that bugged me more of that second movie being the next day. Like, we've never had that before. That was so weird, and it just was too quick to pick up. You're supposed to have this gap in storytelling and realize what happened in between.
Yeah.
And I'm with it. Go ahead and take back on stuff of what you were saying and what's coming out, and let it cook and let things happen for a reason. And now, look at the bigger picture at the end, because that's worked for us for quite a long time. There was no plan. We started with the one, and it turned into another one. People didn't even want to come back for that. And then we had our 3, and then, it was the prequel thing. And now people grew up with the prequels, and I don't know people standing on the sequels of saying that they grew up with that or what's happening now.
I think they just think it's a cool sci-fi movie and move on.
Yeah, Disney's Plus era is good to me, and it can happen.
Yeah.
But let's let it sit for a while and go ahead and plan things out. I don't need a rush of all the time everything Star Wars. And I think we realized that a lot with Marvel. Marvel seemed to go there we did it with the whole, Infinity War and everything that happened, and then all of a sudden here's everything, and they've had to stop. And
executives do it again.
Yeah,
it's
it can't let it happen. And I hope
quality over quantity is key in our minds.
Wars.
No, and I do want to ask Chet and Alex this. Obviously, you guys like Star Wars, right? But are you infatuated to the point we are where what we're saying rings true to? Is it something that you want them to take their time with and do something that's going to be worse? We're talking about it for the next 20 years, or is it's just a cool sci-fi movie that you're like, that's cool, I was entertaining, but I'm kind of over it? What is your guys' experience with that?
I have a deep love for Star Wars. I think that I think that Star Wars is one of those properties that when it's done right, and you look at the original 3 and you just pay attention to those stories, there was something to be told there. You can argue over which one of those 3 is the best, but either way around, they're all fantastic. They all have, I mean, you could stand on that bridge alone, but
whoa,
but I am not alone, sir.
But however, but if you think about it, what in recent releases, if you remove some of the top notch animations of Star Wars, one of my favorite recent releases is Rogue One. And that's literally just an espionage film really in the Star Wars universe. So the problem is that you had this takeover from Disney. You had everything happen, and then they did this change, and then it was this is a money pit, and Disney said no, it's not, and then they're like, yes, it is, and then we just talked about with Marvel, right? They are just rushing everything to come out, and the stuff that that they've been working on for a long time, maybe it doesn't end well, and maybe it has some rough patches, but they're good and they're fun to watch, right? And you had that recently with them bringing back animations they said they were never going to bring back, and then everyone's like, oh, we want to see it, so they brought it back. And why is that better than any of the movies you've released in recent years? So I think there's so much lore in Star Wars that they could experience. They could get new audiences into. You have the in-betweens between the movies. You have, and like I said, Rogue One did it best, and they took their time on that. And kind of speaking to the Marvel thing, there's a lot of stuff that came out of Marvel that's trash, and it's like I was trying to watch Ultron, and I was like, no, this is not good.
My least favorite. So,
yeah. And that's how I am with some of the recent releases of Star Wars. It's just like, this could be good, but you tried to get everyone's money right away.
There is definitely the people who already denied the Disney takeover, and no matter what, when they heard that, they were going to just hate everything because they think Disney's they have their own opinions on what their production value or what they do, right? Yes, they hit a home run with Marvel, and I think they hit a grand slam with Rogue One. The sequels were like, we put $4 billion. The day they announced the takeover, they said we're putting a movie out 17, 19, or what's that?
Today's anniversary.
Oh, it is. Today's 10 year? The Disney takeover?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Dang.
Wow. 2014, huh?
Yeah. So, and they put out
or that $4 billion. I just clicked right now when you had said
that. Okay. Yeah. I mean, well, Force Awakens came out in 2015. Yeah, so they wasted no time to throw it out there without. And again, I always fight against. I'm like, oh, they have to have a plan. What writing team goes in and says we're going to do a trilogy, especially a 7, 8, 9, and not have a cohesive, like, here's A and Z. In between could be freedom. I had to eat crow. And Cliff, when I talked to Cliff about it, he was telling me, and I tell him, I gotta wait till the episode 9. Let me wait. I watched it, and I just like, yeah, well, I guess people were correct in a way. Maybe there was some unwarranted outrage on certain things about Star Wars, but they got it right when it says, look, it just, the third act on that did not match anything that was going on. They did a whole different thing. And one of the most offensive things to us as original trilogy people is that they negated Anakin's role through 6 movies about defeating the Emperor, just to bring the Emperor back and to have Rey do it. It's like you just slap the fandom across the cheeks. And I had to admit that in a way they did. Could it be redeemed? Sure. Just make those legends. Just 7, 8, 9 legends, and then make the Mando universe and Dave Filoni's Heir of the Empire movie. That's what we're calling it. That's the definitive ending to the Skywalker saga. And now let's go to 30,000 years or 5,000 years prior to the Republic. Start all over. I have a master plan for them, for Disney. They won't listen. They won't listen.
We've all written it in our heads, right?
Of course. And,
but you're right. We went on the Sarlacc Digest every week talking about Star Wars, talking about the sequels, thinking, hold true. There's a plan. There's a plan in the works. There's got to be a plan.
Yeah, it's got to be a plan.
Nope.
Come to find out, there was no plan.
Well, no. The plan was to make all of the money and piss people off.
Yeah,
they did. Well, I feel like they did that pretty well.
They got their money back. They definitely got their money back. But again, like when we do the toy shows too, it shows in the toys too. It's like how Hasbro went from like anything Star Wars, slap a sticker on it sells, to, oh my God, these are peg warmers. We can't give this stuff away. And that was a direct result in the IP or what was coming out of it too. And hey, look, Star Wars fans, we're not strangers to that, to the flux. Prequels did it to us, where a lot people sued George Lucas over the prequels and over things. You know what I mean? So we're not strangers to this. And I know that there was some turbulence back in the day when they thought Ewoks could never defeat the Empire, and people were pissed off about Ewoks, but we were too young for that. I like Ewoks. I love Return of the Jedi. So I expect
I got mad when they took away their song.
Yes. Yub Nub. Chris isn't here to dispute that. So
right.
Hashtag bring back Yub Nub.
Yeah. At least for a little bit. Let them jump around and sing it and play, and then start the celebration.
Dude, that's a vivid childhood memory, that song, and took it away. But and Lucas took it away, and we have to say thank you, Lucas, right? No, we don't.
On that note of all these different cuts that he's done or made to that, Would you guys be accepting of a cut for 789 of re-adding stuff, or
I almost think it's
taking
inevitable at
something
this point
away?
coming up
You
in the
think they're going to
future.
do the same thing? You do?
I do, because I think they should. I don't know if they're going to. I think they should because of the stuff that they've introduced us through Bad Batch, through Mandalorian, stuff like that. I think there needs to be some sort of additional special footage, especially if they're bringing Snoke into the fold as a clone. He's not a clone. What is he? And I only show that kind of storyline, right? We saw him in the Bad Batch, or it was like referenced in whatever, and then in Mandalorian season 2, and then it's like we're just supposed to headcanon what Snoke actually is, or are they going to explain it? And again, there's time to explain it, but maybe a special edition of 789 to kind of like maybe add some things will explain a lot of it. I don't know.
I kind of felt we got teased too much with they're going to explain it, and we still haven't gotten it.
Yeah. It's still not. Yeah, we still haven't gotten it. So
we should have gotten it though by now. I'm like, oh, okay, and they forgot.
Let them continue the story through the Mandoverse. Let them get there, because we know they're building that backstory using the Mandoverse, and go through the whole Heir to the Empire. At the end of Heir to the Empire, introduce Snoke and stop. Just stop. Let Snoke just exist in that world, and then go like we were saying, go somewhere else.
Yeah,
tell a different story. Leave some mystery. We don't need every moment explained. That was the problem with the prequels, is they tried to explain too much. They tried to connect too many things, right?
Yes.
So, or one of the problems with the prequels. So
not the pod race.
Leave a little mystery. Right. Leave a little mystery. Let us have our fantasy world where we can headcanon these things and how they work. We don't need everything explained.
Okay, I agree with me. I 100% agree with less is more. I really do.
Yeah.
But I think there's a point to Anakin story, the Emperor, Anakin, all that stuff, the Skywalker saga in general. Now there was some stuff that they kind of like stopped referencing, and again negated a lot of it, that I think they could add or make it to what the sequels did. It was a continuation of what Anakin started, finished, or whatever it was, like Kylo Ren say, I'm going to finish what you started. And it's like, well, did you know Anakin's real purpose in life? It's the whole Padme thing, and it's like he didn't really want to rule anything. It was just so Kylo, did you get it wrong? You know what I mean? So there's things that I felt like the writers got it wrong when it came to that connection. And so I think when we were doing the podcast, when those movies were coming out, we're like, no, it's still got to be, Rey might be incarnated, Anakin incarnate. You know what I mean? And we are trying to throw all these things around, and they didn't do any of it, which is like,
If they were to add anything to any of the movies, just a simple Emperor laugh during the Force flashback when Rey touches the saber and the Force Awakens, just hearing the Emperor cackle in the background, just that little nugget of information that maybe he is still out there somehow.
Yeah, that and the flashback of the blue lightning going off the Exegol, that's enough to really carry our brains.
Yeah,
that the Emperor survived, and so Anakin's, and then I don't know, and that should have been that finish what you started. Kylo Ren finished killing the Emperor.
Yeah,
I don't know. Anyway, guys, I mean, this is all this conversation is all stemmed off of like, get a cohesive story. So if you're gonna take the Rey movie and you're gonna start firing writers, or writers are actually the writer left. He left. He wasn't fired, I think. Yeah. He left. I don't know, creative differences, blah blah blah, all that stuff. It's like I said, it's turmoil. And on the other hand, Rogue Squadron is now back in the fold.
Is it really?
Patty Jenkins said, I think she came out and says, now I have got time. I'm like, oh, thank you for blessing us with your time for a Star Wars movie.
I think what they need to do with Star Wars is, I think they need to approach the writers different, because if you go back to the originals, right, the writers are passionate about what they were doing. There was like you could tell they were passionate about it. You could tell that everything was interlaced. You knew that they weren't sure if it was going to continue, so they wanted to try to figure out, like, at least that's how it was written to feel, right? Like, do they know if they're going to make another one? But I think with Star Wars right now, because it's such a like vast, like, just universe, and has potential to go 1,000 different ways. I think the smart thing to do would be like if we said, all right, Storm and Dr. Brentley write an entire movie, and then they started making the Star Wars films based off of people that have completed either a movie or a series of movies, and then they use that, because what happens is then you have everything solid written out, and you can make adjustments, and it'll feel like someone who's passionate about writing it. And they should just open it up, like, because what they're doing is they're hiring writers who like, oh, I wrote for the Goofy movie back in the day, and they're like, well, you're probably fantastic at writing Star Wars, right? I mean, it's got perfect. I'm sure there's dogs somewhere in Star Wars. So like if you get that crap out of there and you just start putting the passion behind the writing, I think we'll start to see some different things kind of show up, because there's even been like fan films on YouTube that have popped up that's like, well, why is this not a thing? Like,
right.
There's some great ideas out there. Yeah.
The originals and the prequels, of course, had George, right? Mm-hmm. And especially whenever it comes to the original trilogy, we had George. George wrote a plan. He started off with one movie. If you read his original scripts, they're all over the place. They're massive stories that would have been like 9 hours long just to tell one movie, right? But he was able to pare it down and he had the plan. He had the beginning, and then as it went along, he developed the story as it went, and he would oversee the writers. He would bring in Kasdan, and Kasdan wrote the script based on the story by George Lucas as it went along, right? You still had that one definitive voice that was in the background telling them where to go from point A to get to point B, right? Mm-hmm. That's what they're lacking. And that's what I'm hoping Dave Filoni is bringing to the table as the head of the writing group, right?
That's his role now. Yeah.
Since he's the head of the writers group, it's here's point A, here's point B. Let's hire the people that will get us there as we tell them what the story is, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Did they not have a head writer for 7, 8, 9?
As far as I'm aware, it was as far as
they
I'm aware,
they had a round table.
J.J. Abrams was involved in, of course, number 1, 7 and 9, of course, but he was also involved in 8 as well.
Yeah.
But he gave Rian Johnson the freedom to tell the story the way he wanted it told. But
yeah,
it was also, Rian gets a lot of crap for what he wrote, but it was kind of an alley-oop from JJ, right? Luke left. What's going to drive Luke to leave? Well, of course, this happened. So now you've got to figure out, Rian, how far to take that, right? Luke left because of all these problems, the fall of the Jedi Order again. But it was Rian. I think Ryan's choice to have Luke just throw the lightsaber and be, a staunch, no, I'm not going back. That's where things started going awry, right?
Yeah.
There needed to be something a little different in there.
Yeah, there was a lot like insinuated, I guess, about Luke's anger towards Kylo. Like he had that glimmer of moment that he was going to kill his nephew, like his sister's son. So, and we're sitting there going, well, geez, Luke didn't see that much crap to do that kind of like reaction. You know what I mean? So there was something missing through us. And so a lot of people's reactions to Luke's character was like, he would never do that. And then the writer's like, well, yeah, because it's about, but that's not how you presented it to us. Like you didn't present it to us as something far more sinister than it, I guess, what they intended. Mm-hmm. And I think there's still room to show it though.
It was a fleeting moment.
Yeah,
it was just a fleeting moment.
Yeah, I know, but people have problems with that. You know what I mean? And and Mark Hamill came out and says that he fundamentally disagrees with the character choice and everything. And Luke, wouldn't do that. And Luke was about to sacrifice himself to the Emperor because he would not kill Vader and take the Emperor's, his place at the Emperor's side. He wouldn't do that. He was about to die there. So
yeah.
There's, like I said, there's some conflict there that,
yeah, but
I just feel like the writing group, because there was like a story group, right? Not one guy. Like Dave Filoni now is the end all be all. He's like
the guy.
Hey, I got I got a question. No, yes, that's it. I don't think they had that before. I think it was like, well, yeah, that can work. We'll make it work. Let's do this and that. We don't know what the future holds. And then when they went to episode 9, yeah, there's this meme where like Rey's holding the dagger and she's like, this thing has done so much atrocities. Meantime, she's holding Anakin's saber, which killed younglings and killed Jedi. It's like, not this one, but this one's bad.
What do they call it? The Youngling Slayer.
Youngling Slayer 3000.
Like
yeah. So I mean, and here's the thing: the audience saw right past all that. We see all that. You know what I mean? And then here we are making excuses for it. You know, when we were. You know, but anyway,
how does the ancient dagger point to the direction of a ship that crashed or a space station that crashed just 30 years before?
Yeah, exactly. And how did they just land on that exact same spot? That
right?
This spot on the planet. Yeah.
Oh, okay. There it is.
Thanks, JJ. Convenient man. Yeah. But anyway,
because the lighthouse and the rocks all to the moon, and so
yeah. See exactly.
Make me break out the truffle shuffle.
Yeah.
I can tell you that the one thing that there was fear that was put in my soul when Chad said, "Oh, Dr. Brentley and Mr. Storm could write for Star Wars," because I know we would never be invited back to the show because Fett and Solo and Mushu would be talking crap about something we were gonna do. It would be every week for the rest of our lives.
Dr. Brantley would just turn it into Indiana Jones in space.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, Alex. You bring that up because I've talked to this about, you know. Yeah, we'll still hear you out.
Oh yeah.
We have
explain yourself.
We sat there and go, okay, if we all submitted a fan film,
yeah,
I guarantee you, none of us we would have a problem with something somebody wrote. Like if Scott presented something, I would be like, that's crap. Not that harsh. And then if I presented it, he'd be like, oh, that's not that good. You know, so we all have ideas of where we all have ideas of where the story should go, or interpretations of certain aspects of it, right? And I said I've talked to Chris about this too, and it's funny how like I don't think we can all sit in a room and agree on future stories. We can talk canon and lore and character roles and stuff, but as far as like if we all sat and wrote episode 9, we'd have 3 complete different stories because there are certain things, but there's certain things in Star Wars that we love and and then we take that and enhance it, right? So perfect example is Chris's and Scott's conflict on episode 2. You know, episode 2, Chris loves because of the expositions on it. You know, the explaining where everything is on paper.
On paper, it's great.
And then Scott has more or less doesn't like the aesthetics of episode 2, and he felt too fake and too forced and
forced.
And there are some story aspects you probably just like this
issues.
Horrible. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, but Chris would write that way different and going over a different story than Scott would. And again, we wouldn't be friends after that because it'd be all like we all have Sarlacc Digest 1. It would be spelled different. Every one of us have a different podcast, you know, with 3 C's, 2 C's.
But you see, here's the thing though. Whenever it comes to script writing, and I might be treading on Alex's feet here, and I've read scripts because
from what a studio exec told me, anybody could do it. So
wow, okay. So
what's his full name?
For my job, I work in a theater. I have to read a lot of scripts, right? So that I read scripts all the time, and the written word, hey, that's a great story, but it's up to the director to pull those performances out of the people, right? You can have the world's greatest script, and you can still have it can still be acted by Corey Feldman nowadays, Corey Feldman, and you've got a terrible movie.
Yeah.
Sorry, Corey, but it really does all come down to
Patreon.
I know, right? It all comes down to the director and the actors chosen to read the lines and to memorize the lines of this perfect script.
Yeah. I agree with that. I 100% agree with that because there are movies that man, that could have been. I understand what they did, and it's a great when we always say on paper it's great. Well, that means visually it sucked. You know what I mean? But
read between the lines.
Yeah, but wow, what a movie that was! And there's a lot of movies that I grew up with that I actually absolutely adore that people go, that was sucked. I say, yeah, but there's an underlining heart of the movie that just didn't translate well. So I understand that completely, you know.
But also where Scott has it right too, when you say, well, like, you know, on paper. Here's the thing, and this is the aspect that Dr. Brentley and I go on all the time about. On paper, you also know when it's a bad movie. And it's too many production nowadays that know on paper that this is crap, and they still go to the shooting phase. And they're like, well, we'll fix it and we'll do. There's no fixing something that's bad from the beginning. And you know, look, we've written hundreds of scripts. You know, when you've written like some crap on the page, you're like, wow, and someone bought that. You're shocked.
Well, they signed off on that.
Something that you poured your heart and soul into, and they tell you it's crap, but you believe it's better working and find someone down the line doing it. They're just putting too much bad material down, and they're expecting people. And I don't even know why they do this in the Star Wars community, because if there's a couple of fandoms that you better have right before you even start thinking about shooting.
Yeah,
Star Wars is the main one, because again, there's shows like yours that someone has known it, analyzed it, meticulized it, and put it into point. And if you're not hitting those bells and whistles,
you can't fake it.
God help you.
Yeah. You can't fake it. And it does show, like I said, with, you know, we've been in this for forever, and doing the podcast, we understand that the Star Wars community is very volatile to changes and to any kind of ups and downs or whatever writing that they do. We're very picky at it. Like, that works, that doesn't work, and we'll tell you why too. We're not just gonna say no, yes. We'll say no, it didn't work because of this, or this character would have done this. And you know, do we? Yeah, I don't know. Again, this whole conversation is stemming from, again, the fact that we feel, and I'm going to speak for us as Star Wars in this channel, was like, we feel like there's this department over there in Lucasfilm, and you can't shake a good story out of them these days. It's like, come on, like, or have some balls and can finish their story. And I'm gonna say it, like, as much as the Acolyte, whatever people's opinions on Acolyte, I give us a season 2 to wrap it all up. Do whatever you have to do. I want to see a finished story. I don't want them to give them an excuse of, like, if it doesn't work, they'll just back out and do something else. You know, and then
don't
we
Willow
have all
this
these
thing.
Oh, getting started with Willow.
Well, yeah,
I ripped out of shreds on the next Getting Medieval on the Shadow. I ripped that series to shreds. Not the movie. The movie's great, but yeah, don't get me started on that. But there are aspects of Solo, Acolyte, Mandalorian, stuff that they're not going to continue, and they're just not doing it, and they expect us to forget. Like, they expect us, and this is why there's turbulence in the Star Wars community. It's like they expect us just to accept the next project that they're doing. Hopefully they finish it. If they don't, if it doesn't get received well, it's our fault, and then they'll just do something else. And if that's their thing moving forward, then they're in trouble, you know.
Well, I think that's the hardest aspect that I think Lucas is coming up with, Lucasfilms in general, is that social media has, I think, really kind of damaged the way
100%,
they've done anything, because they never had a instantaneous fan backlash. If something went wrong in the first 3 movies, you know, what is it? Somebody wrote a letter in, it gets in months later, whatever. You know, now they're making movies in the social media area, and it's like, from like the minute that thing hits the screen, there's somebody writing or tweeting or doing whatever, and it's hidden.
Doesn't give it a
and
chance.
You get instantaneous feedback, and so executives are looking at that, because these people are MBAs. They're not creative anymore. You don't have people that are running studios that are filmmakers. You have them that are getting from Harvard or wherever their degrees are coming from, and now they're penny pinchers, and they're like, oh, the first 2 episodes didn't do good. We got to kill this entire season. We'll never do this again.
Yeah.
And they're going off of the vibes of social media instead of saying, how can we make this better and give it a little bit more time and see if we can round that out. They're killing it immediately.
Well, the foundation of Star Wars is art. It was an art. It wasn't a business. Lucas even admittedly said, I don't care if this makes $1. You know, yeah, of course I wanted to make money so we can do more of these, but, and all in all, I want to get my vision on screen. Right. And I think a lot of people go into certain types of businesses and they go, look, we've got this awesome logo and a Star Wars. Well, let's just throw things because I got to get my $1.5 million bonus this year. And so who hurts at the end is us. And then again, we're blamed for not liking certain things. So breaking news. Joey just said, so it's the Dodgers have won the World Series. The Doyers are champions again.
And I guess he's sad about it.
Is he sad about? Joey. We're Angel fans.
Face.
Angel fans. It's just like the Mets and the Yankees.
I'm a don't care fan. So
I did want a California team to win. So hey, sorry, East Coast, West Coast, we won. That's all that matters. But and Jake Gooding, welcome to. Of course, they won.
Throwing down gang signs.
Yeah, it's in the script. Wow. Of course, it's in the script. Yeah. So, well, you heard it here right on the Starlight Digest. Those of you who tuned in for us, the Dodgers won the World Series. So here we go. Really quick too, real fast, man. They don't let the Yankees win one game. It's fun.
They got spanked yesterday. The Dodgers got absolutely bludgeoned.
I think they let them have it. It's like, hey, we're here in New York. We're gonna extend our stay. So.
I gotta give them one, right?
Yeah. They help those FanDuel people go up a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, so I mean, here's the thing, guys. From now until Skeleton Crew, which is December 3rd, which is only like a month
right around the corner.
I mean, literally, like a little over a month away. That's gonna. First off, it's gonna cause a whole new set of problems. We already see it, but it doesn't have to. It really doesn't have to. It could be exactly what it's presented to us as a fun ride with Star Wars tagged on it, and that's what I'm expecting. I was watching the trailer again the other day, and I go, this looks fun. It looks cool. There's more pictures coming out, and I'm gonna throw this out there now, Chris. I know you watch, but that robot pirate that you said it would be cool as a villain. Well, there's a picture that came out, and we'll put it out next week of that robot dude with red lights behind him, and he looks villainous. So there's still a possibility of that K2 robot looking thing being an antagonist. So so we shall see. But I think it's gonna start heating up. I think we should get another
they tied in Captain EO. I already love it.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
So
I already love it. Yeah.
Antique is back. Antique from Battle of Endor, the best Ewok movie there was. The best character there was Teak. So I'm kidding, of course, but
he's being sold all over the parks right now.
It's a deep cut. They promised us deep cuts. Really? They're selling Teaks? Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That was fast.
I'll send you guys a picture. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
All right.
Yeah. So I know we're getting Captain EO references. They already confirmed that we're getting the Teak. So yeah, we're going to look at those deep cuts and be, I think, entertained with that too. So we were promised that. That's going to be fun. I'm
telling you, I will be a little angry with no ET going out to get the paper.
He's got to.
He's got to go out to get the paper from his nice little house.
Yeah.
Checking on his car and go back in.
I understand. I do understand the necessity for people to visit weekly so they can get their monthly subscription services. Disney can get their monthly roll-in of money. I get it, but I really honestly wish they would drop the entire series all at once for just one of these Star Wars shows so they can see so people can actually sit down, watch it from beginning to end, see how it shakes out before freaking the F out and going online and
this is a show show would have been a great tester, right? Something that doesn't have or promises the tie-in through any kind of saga, any kind of power stories. This would be the show to be like, boom. If it was in the hour mode, if they were dropping hour-long series, then I say keep it weekly. But 20-minute, 30-minute stuff, sometimes not even, that it's kind of like a build-up for 20 minutes, and here's the story, and they go boom, boom.
Well,
boom. It's like increments. Yeah.
I'm curious to see how they did it because I think it's a really unique approach to adapt a Stephen King book into the Star Wars universe. I think that's a very, very brave.
If they do that, I'll be. I'm a big fan, so I would like yes.
Yo, look, if it's a Stephen King book or not, I'm excited about that.
Yeah, exactly. I'm there. We'll just have to get over like I said, the suburban look to Star Wars, and some people won't, but
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm.
don't know.
That's what kind of I don't know. I think if you release the whole thing all at once, people could sit down and watch it from beginning to end.
Because that first
relax.
episode's gonna be like.
Of course, it's going to be set on Planet Pasadena, where they live. They all live in Planet Pasadena, and people are going to be like, "This isn't Star Wars." Oh my god! There's an Ithorian walking a dog. What the hell's happening here? Oh my god! Dogs and cats living together. Mass hysteria. Right?
Green grass.
Green grass. Oh my god! Why isn't it purple?
Exactly.
But is that a school bus? But if you release the whole damn thing, let people sit with it, let them watch it, let them get over it, get past that point.
Yeah.
I think it would read better.
I think, like I said, if they were gonna do it, this would be the tester. Not like a Ahsoka season 2 or an Andor 2 or something like that. This would be the tester because it's not that. So far, I'm putting it in my head that it's not that of an important of a series. It's one of those things where we just have some Star Wars content to consume.
Oh my god!
In the year. So
what if they go out to this far away, wherever it is they end up, because they're supposed to be like in the unknown regions or something like that, right? What if they are the ones that end up coming across Snoke and they bring Snoke back with them? Snoke brings them back to their
Oh my goodness! Then
that's where it all ties in, right there.
Yeah, and then now you're making it important. So
yeah.
Oh, do we get an old woman Sindel? Well, and
Sure.
and then we'll have to get Wicket too. So Wicket, Sindel, and Teak go off from Endor.
Well, you won't get her brother Mace. That's for sure.
He did.
He did.
And his parents.
Too soon?
Very dark. Very dark. Yeah, very dark movie. Well, anyway, guys, again, this is what we're gonna have to do until we get some proper news, proper things going on. I just wish it was more or less like, hey guys, we're excited to announce blah 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 is attached to this, and we're filming today, instead of like this show lost its director, this show lost its writer, we're canning this one's back in the element. Like now we're getting Rogue One. Now I'm just like, you know what, I'm done. Like,
is this like the third or fourth time Rogue Squadron's been back on the docket?
Yeah, and at the time, and I'm like, I don't believe you anymore. God. Like, I don't believe you.
It's the Star Wars writer, the Cred Wolf. It's just
I mean,
pass.
We already said pass from day one, so.
You did. I didn't. I love those Rogue Squadron books.
Yeah, but it wasn't gonna be those. That's the thing.
I know.
All right. Well, anyway, everybody, thank you so much. We're gonna wind it down here. Happy Halloween, everybody. Be safe, of course. I already see the pit saying that there's riots in the street. Of course there is, because LA won.
LA won. LA has to burn. Yay! That's what we do. Show some LA pride. Go out and burn some. Go looting.
Burn and steal everything because we won.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't understand.
If
humanity.
That doesn't need to happen and everything. But just in case, I do need a Pocket 3. If anybody's I'll do a lot of good content on it. I'm just saying. But don't do that.
You don't need a Dodgers excuse to get that stuff. You go right down the street and get it.
Pick up your boy.
So, I won't need this then. I guess I'll just. Never mind. I guess I'll just sit in for the rest of the night.
That's it.
All right, guys. Well, Chet and Alex, thank you guys for just coming in and shooting it with us. Of course, this won't be the last time. And of course, those two faces right there, in the link to description below. Shadow Nose Network. They just got done wrapping up a show today too, which I'm anxious to see on the replay, because I came in third on the trivia that Ernie did, and Ernie didn't even come in. He came in 10th. So, but he did come in top 10 out of 11, which was great.
Yes, top 10. So
ask a difficult question right now. I want to get stumped.
Well, what was one of the difficult ones?
It's like, how did the Wolfman die?
So what actor played
Dracula,
Frankenstein, Mummy, and the Wolfman? All of them. Boris Karloff, Bela Lugosi, Lon Chaney Jr., or Lon Chaney?
Is that Boris Karloff, isn't it?
No, I think it's Lon Chaney, the man of 1,000 faces, right?
Chet got it.
Did he?
Lon Chaney Jr. played all four characters.
All four.
I answered Boris Karloff because I knew he played the Mummy and Frank. Yeah, I got it wrong. unbelievable. But those are the kind of questions, though. That was a learning question. You know what I mean?
I'm so disappointed in you, Mooch.
I know.
Congratulations, Chet. That was a great answer, man.
Thank you.
Yeah, but Lone Chaney is the man of 1,000 faces. Yes, but
we have a new resident horror fan here. Chet, welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, hey,
looks like I just kicked Darth down to 4th place.
Whoa! See, that's
we want to come
challenge.
Back to the show, Chet. We want to come back. Don't get
I'll take 12.
I can't wait for the daily double to hit, and then
big money.
We'll do more trivia shows back on when we do this again. Of course, the trivia shows are always fun. So everybody be safe, but of course we're getting out of here right now. So Alex and Chet, where can we find you guys?
Oh, us air all the time on the Toy Box Chronicles on Wednesday night after the Fallen Fete. That comes Toy Box Chronicles at 7. And then you can head over here to Store Like Digest podcast. And like we always say on our channel, the best damn Star Wars show on YouTube.
We like to think so.
You catch us over at the Shadow Nose Network. And you can catch Darth Moocher over there. We're trying to get Scott over there. And eventually we'll get the Fallen Fed over there too.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, this is great. Again, links in the description below. We'll look forward to your show on Friday also. And Ernie, I'm not going to say a word this time. It's all you. You take us out. I'm not saying nothing.
Don't believe him.
The time I'm sick and throat busted hurting, Mark Moocher's like, I'm going to shut up this one. Thank you guys very much for tuning in. Thank you, Alex and Chet, for being here tonight. It was great. Thanks to everybody who jumped into the pit tonight, wanted to talk with us, and to really the replay crew. What's up? How you doing? And for those of you who are new, please hit that thumbs up on your way out. Hit the subscribe button, hit the bell for notifications, and hit all so you don't miss when we're on, like Mondays and Wednesdays and special shows in between. We got tons of reviews. There's old specials on there. It's going to be turning into that holiday season already before you know it. So go check out all of our old content. We'll have you covered for tons of enjoyment. Pop in a headphone, put it in your ear, and just nod at that one cousin that you don't like talking to, but they think for some reason you want to know their whole life story. Have us in your ear, and we'll get you covered. For those collectors out there, thank you tonight's sponsor, Tashi Station Emporium, for all your figure stand needs. They got you covered, making your displays truly new or stand out. Head on over to Tashi Station Emporium. The link is also down there for that. And if you want to, and you want to know what goes on with all behind the scenes of the 3D printing, what people are doing out there, go subscribe as well to the brand new YouTube channel over there. All the links are below. Check us out on all social media. We got you covered on all Star Wars news, from 24/7 Talk on Discord to Facebook. Take your pick. It's covered over there. And we will see you next week.
Wow. I didn't say a word to that whole thing. I'm so proud of myself.
You just talked.
It was good.
Yeah, you said you weren't going to talk.
I just
Brace
did.
yourself.
Man.
These are coming. These reviews are coming. The Super 7 Tomax and Zaymot. Look at that. Looks just like the vintage one.
I don't see the lightsabers.
That's
no
exact.
Lightsabers,
That's like exact.
So brace yourself. A review is coming.
Nice. And we got some HasLabs that are coming too. Oh, so the toy chest. Make sure you're staying tuned to those on Monday, every other Monday. Right. So,
yep.
With that, Scott,
keep it nerdy, everybody. Bye-bye.
This is Grand Admiral Thrawn. You are listening to the Sarlacc Digest. What a fascinating play on words.